Hey guys, Nadya Martinez AKA GothamGeekGirl here. Join me as we delve into the world of pop culture, TV, movies, comic books, and video games, with the occasional special guest, interviews, and industry professionals. I am joined by Primetime Emmy Award winning actress Sheryl Lee Ralph as we discuss the NatGeo documentary The Real Red Tails, which is a 1 hour special narrated by Abbott Elementary Sheryl Lee Ralph. As Juneteenth approaches, it's time to celebrate the incredible achievements of Black people around the globe. National Geographic will be honoring Black excellence all year long, ensuring that the recognition and appreciation of Black contributions continue beyond the important holiday. National Geographic celebrates the too often overlooked contributions of soldiers of color in World War II, with the specials Erase World War II Heroes of Color and The Real Red Tails. The groundbreaking documentary, Real Red Tails, tells the story of the astonishing discovery of a World War II-era P-39 airplane in Lake Huron, Michigan, and the lost story of Tuskegee pilot Frank Moody. The 1 hour special explores the history of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, Sheryl. Good morning. How are you?
I am very well, thank you, and happy to be talking with you.
Thank you. Excited to talk with you. I've loved you since Moesha.
Ah, oh, thank
Your
you.
voice is iconic.
Oh, thank you very much.
So,
I love hearing that from young folks.
so I just wanted to say this documentary is very powerful. It celebrates the overlooked contributions of the Tuskegee Airmen. These are stories that sadly have been forgotten or purposely not told. And there are two battles that these trailblazing African American pilots faced. They struggled with racism and discrimination at home while they fought for our country. How do you think this documentary helps shed light on what is not taught in history books and the significance of what should be taught?
I love the fact that you said is not taught in the history books. And the fact that this story, such an important story, part of American history, has been ignored, unwritten, not told, simply because of the color of these men's skin.
Mm-hmm.
Only because of the color of their skin. And the fact that here we are in 2024 just telling an important story that has been, secretly, when you grow up as a young Black child, you hear of these stories. Your parents and those that do know tell you the stories, share the history. But overall, does the larger community of people in the country, do they know of this contribution? No, they do not know, because purposely it has been withheld from them because of that R word, racism.
It's crazy how even like media can tell such important stories that like people didn't even know about Tulsa until watching Watchmen, which is
Oh,
incredibly sad. How do
it
you
is
think?
incredibly sad that you could have a story like the killing of the the flower moon. That story, that
Mhm.
real story, and how not only was the story killed, but the people were killed in an effort to bury the fact that it ever happened with such calculated hate and racism.
Absolutely. And it's insane that people are learning about these things through film. How do you
Through
think?
film.
Yeah. How do you think this documentary contributes to the larger conversation within the industry? And what do you hope audiences will take away from watching this documentary?
I think, in my mind, artists come in so many different titles, and documentaries and people who make documentaries, who work on them, research them, edit them. These are all artists, whether you're an educational artist, a film artist, a stage artist, a voice artist, you are still artists. And artists are truly keepers of the truth. And it is up to us to continue to tell the truth, expose the truth so that people can learn and not have to repeat it.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say you delivered a very powerful acceptance speech at the Critics' Choice Awards. And voice is so important, especially on documentaries. What do you think is something that people would be surprised to learn about, like the narration process and presenting questions to the audience, like how important it is in your position as a narrator?
how you use your voice, how you tell your story, the inflections that you use in your voice, the fact that they will not see you moving on stage, but they can hear you moving, communicating through your voice. The voice can be an incredibly powerful tool. And I really believe that I am blessed that God has given me a voice that I choose to work the way it has been worked before me, the way a Paul Robeson used his voice, the way a Harry Belafonte used his voice, the way so many of the foremothers and fathers used their voices towards liberation, towards freedom, towards enlightenment, towards hope, to inspire people to keep hope alive. The use of a voice is a powerful tool.
Absolutely. Do you have like routines or rituals you kind of do to like, I guess, work on your like recording process and preparing your vocal cords?
You know something? It's funny that you say that because I I recently got nominated for a vocal performance, an Emmy nomination, and the first part of it I recorded in my bed under my sheets because I knew the sound would be good there. And I didn't have a studio available in the time to turn it around as needed. And I think about, sometimes you have to make do with what you've got. But for me, huh, I do everything I can to keep my voice in the best shape possible. And very often, there's a singing voice and then there's a speaking voice. Huh. And sometimes it's harder to keep the singing voice in shape because just like any other muscle, it requires a daily commitment to keeping it strong and elastic and working. In your speaking voice, it's a little different because you use it differently. So you're using different muscles. It's like a walker and a runner. A runner needs to make sure that those big muscles can stretch and move. A walker just needs to make sure that the muscles are still working. So it's all about a mix of keeping the muscles moving.
And how did you become like involved in this project? What was the most rewarding part of the project? And did you actually get to meet with any of the like surviving airmen or any of their family members or even the divers who discovered the plane?
You know what? I have not been able to meet them. Usually, as a vocal performer, the script has been developed, researched. So by the time it gets to you, your job now is to tell the story with your voice.
Mhm.
And who knows? Maybe one day I will meet them. I know one thing. I went to the African American Museum there in Washington, D.C., and I would tell anybody if you are in D.C., that is one of the Smithsonian's greatest museums as it tells true American history. And in there, I got to see once again one of the planes, one of those, the red tail planes. It was found and someone pieced it all together. And it's now on display for people to see what these men were actually flying. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, it's so different than what I thought. But yeah,
Oh, that's incredible. And I guess what was one of the most rewarding parts of this project for you?
was to be a part of it, to be a part of the voice that actually delivered the story, to have people reacting the way they have been reacting to the story has been it's been an incredible gift.
It's pretty insane how they discovered like this wreckage. I believe it said to the day was it April 11th to the day 70 years later.
That's exactly right. The
That's
morning of April
incredible.
11th, the morning of April 11th, 1944. That was when Second Lieutenant Frank Moody perished in that training mission. Huh. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy,
I
crazy.
remember watching that. I was like, wait a second, to the day?
You know what? Sometimes there are stories that refuse to not be told.
Hmm.
God or the divine powers, whatever they may be, whatever people believe in, sometimes have a way of making sure you hear. What do they say? What is done in the dark will come to light. The stories that must be told will be told.
There's also the Idris Elba Erase series as well. So I'm happy to see that more of these stories are being told. Do you see yourself doing any other, I guess, projects kind of in the subject matter coming up?
I I think for me, and I've been challenged by this, you know, a lot of people want to just do movies. I really want to tell stories. I want to tell stories and I want people to hear the stories out of the people who have actually experienced them so that we are able to create a spoken history, a spoken narrative by those that have lived through it.
Absolutely. It's very incredible, this project and, bringing these stories to light. And I'm hoping to see more of these in the future and actually taught in our history books.
Absolutely. Sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do to share the history, you know, especially if others refuse to do it. You know, the fact that we are in a time once again, because this is not the first time it's happened, when people are trying to ban books, when
Mhm.
people are trying to tell you what you can read and what you cannot read, when people are literally trying to rewrite history. That is why you have to use your voice and tell your stories, because if you don't do it, somebody else will. And very often the narrative is not the same or the true story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cheryl. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful to talk with you.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you. Take care now.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye bye.